Famcast Media, bitch.
The wind's 120 knots to the west. Look at that thing, dude. It's rotating.
Well, this might all come as a pleasant surprise. How long's it been? About, what, 7, 8, 9 months? I honestly don't even know because I haven't really kept track. All I know is, well, unfortunately, based on today's date, I think this is the last day of Black History Month, and I haven't really done anything. Come to think of it, I haven't really done any videos in a very, very long time, and I want to apologize for that. Sometimes life has a way of, dealing you a bad hand. Sometimes there's decisions that you make in life that, end up being mistakes or things that you regret or things that, you've done on impulse and you haven't really thought it out all the way. Well, let's just say I'm still learning and recovering from those mistakes. Don't worry, it's nothing bad and I'm not a criminal. Wahkan will never do anything crazy like that. But either way, enough about that. It's a long story, and it would take, like, several hours to tell. Shoot, I'm just lucky. Some people are just lucky I just don't write a book about the damn thing. Now, KK Reaper and I have been talking, and just recently, about 4 days ago, he released his single for his next new song called Pentagon Approved. Now, I was one of the lucky ones that got to hear the song, weeks before, the single release. And you guys haven't checked it out, it's available on Spotify and pretty much all music streaming platforms, so I suggest you all check that out. And there's also going to be a music video released. Right now, they're still in the process of, producing it, so you guys, sit tight, it's going to be ready for it. And as you can see, I got new hardware. This is an iMac. Surprisingly, this thing is like for almost 12, 13 years old, and I'm surprised it's still in good working condition that it is. Still has the up-to-date operating system. Took me like 2 hours to figure out how to install the bloody thing, but as you can see, it works fine and it's clear, and I can finally sit back and watch music videos in HD instead of this tiny screen that I have right here. Editing, that's a different story. I think I'm just going to stick to editing on this computer. But enough with all that. I know it's Black History Month, and, I haven't really done any reviews on any bands in quite a while. So, to celebrate Black History Month, I'm going to list for you guys 5 black heavy metal bands that you guys should definitely check out. These are bands that I listen to personally, bands that I, have been introduced to, either stumbling upon them spontaneously, or, introduced by, a friend of mine. Now, as a black metal head, you start to hear lots of things, heavy metal isn't for black people, or black people don't listen to heavy metal, or you're just trying to be white, or something like that. And to summarize it, I think Ice-T kind of explains it better in his song, There Goes the Neighborhood. Now, the way There Goes the Neighborhood was written, it was basically, in the perspective of a metalhead that never really, listened to a black heavy metal band before, as you can tell by the lyrics. And in some cases, this behavior and mentality still goes on today. Heavy metal often gets stereotyped as, quote, a white genre, despite the fact that rock, as we know it, was pretty much a melting pot. It was inspired by many different artists, many different musicians from all sorts of ethnic backgrounds. And without the contributions of all these artists, rock as we know it today probably wouldn't even exist. Which leads to the first band I'm going to put on this list. Bad Brains. You see, Bad Brains is originally a punk rock band. Now, when they first started off back in, I think, 1976, they started off as like a jazz/reggae fusion band, and then it progressed to, you know, punk rock, then they added a little bit of elements of heavy metal to it, and they were basically so influential that Rolling Stone named them as the mother of all black hard rock bands, which is quite incredible, you know. Now when it comes to, you know, introducing new people to heavy metal and rock, one of the bands that I showed to them first is definitely Bad Brains. Now, the first song that I heard from Bad Brains was Eye Against Eye. I also heard it in a video game as well. I think it was in one of the Matt Hoffman games. Yeah, I was such a Tony Hawk and a Matt Hoffman nerd back in the day. Now, the band is still active today. They have 9 studio albums, and I think they're working on a 10th. It's been delayed a little bit because I know some of the members have had, you know, health problems. They've been in and out of the hospital. But I think some of them have made a full recovery. So that album is still in the works. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be released, but when it is, it's going to be big, and I probably will review it. Honestly, I want to do a more in-depth, you know, analysis of Bad Brains. But like I said, this is only a list, so I still have 4 more bands to talk about. Stone Vengeance. Now, Stone Vengeance was actually suggested to me by one of my listeners. This was after I'd done the review on Sound Barrier, which is another all-black heavy metal band. Now, Stone Vengeance was formed in California back in 1978, so they've been around for quite a long time, and they're still active today. Now, they mostly focus on, you know, thrash metal and speed metal. And currently, right now, they have 4 full-length studio albums at the moment. Their most recent being in 2002. Now, I think their first album was recorded, I think, in 1989. Quite a few years after the band formed, but I think they released several EPs in the past, and also there's a lot of demo tapes floating around out there. Some of them you might be able to pull up on YouTube. So far, I haven't been able to get my hands on any. But if you do own a copy of it, whatever you do, do not damage it. Put that thing in bubble wrap, you know, put it in a glass case, because, you know, like I said, this is a band that, you know, kind of flew up under the radar. Like, I honestly haven't even heard of this, and I do a lot of research on, you know, heavy metal bands, especially those that are, you know... And from what I understand, Stone Vengeance isn't a signed band. They're completely independent, and they still have quite a large following. So if thrash is your thing, then definitely check out Stone Vengeance. Black Death. Now, Black Death, honestly, I've heard about Black Death almost as long as I heard about Sound Barrier. Now, Black Death, I think these guys have had a head start well beyond the other bands I've had on this list. Black Death formed, I think, in 1975. Right now, they have 2 studio albums out at the moment. There was a time where the band had, you know, stopped recording music, but eventually they did going back together. However, they changed their name, so instead of it being Black Death, it's now titled Black Death Resurrected. Some of the original members are still with the band, although... Some of the original members are still with the band, however, other members have left and, you know, joined different bands. But they're still touring today, and, you know, they're really popular among those that are, you know, people that are, you know, interested in listening to obscure and, you know, bands that have flown under the radar. And they also have a lot of demo tapes out there. I think they're first being recorded in 1981. Some of the songs on their demo were, you know, eventually remastered and put onto their full-length studio albums. Other songs, you know, haven't been released yet, and they're still technically demos. And you can still find the tapes on YouTube. Also, another fun fact about Black Death is that it's one of the oldest all-black heavy metal acts in the United States. So these guys have definitely cemented themselves in black history, especially when it comes to heavy metal. Demogoroth Satanum. Now, this is another band that, has also cemented themselves in black heavy metal history. Now, they were the first black metal band from South Africa that had an all-black lineup. They're still active today. In fact, I first heard about them, I think, in 2014 or 2015. Now, they have 2 singles and 2 EPs out at the moment, and I think they're also working on a full-length studio album. However, I haven't really kept up to date with that as of yet. Their EP was released, I think, in 2018, and they're still doing shows and performing, so as of the recording of this video, they still have yet to be signed, or maybe they're just going to go the independent route. Either way, I think there's a lot of things in store for this band, and I think, I think this is kind of interesting, especially for myself, because, I mostly listen to, black metal out of the Scandinavian regions. This is the first time I've actually heard, a black metal band out of, South Africa. So, I guess you can say black metal just got blacker. Now, on a side note, I actually recorded a TikTok. I'm like, what do you call a black metal band where all of the members are black? And I got quite a few interesting responses. Now, I was actually just clowning around when I recorded that, but, a lot of people, wrote some serious, comments. They're like, yo, it's just a metal band, it's just a metal band. And for those people that were writing those comments, you guys are the real ones. That really does mean a lot. Because, like I said in my sound barrier review, music really doesn't have a color. And, it really warms my heart to know that there are other metalheads out there that, have that same, mentality. So, thank you all for that, and I really appreciate all of you. Now, the final band I'm going to talk about on this list is a band called Negro Terror. Now, YouTube actually had recommended this band to me. I was just, browsing through random, punk rock bands, and one thing that came up was Negro Terror. I'm like, Negro Terror? So, the first song that I heard from Negro Terror was called The Voice of Memphis. And I'm like, you know what, these guys are actually pretty good. Now, Negro Terror, I guess you can say they're a crossover thrash band. I guess they lean more to the side of, hardcore punk and, oi. I think they've done a few covers of songs by Screwdriver. Now, for those that don't know what Screwdriver is a punk rock band, but they are... I don't know what the most politically correct way to say it, but let's say there was this guy that lived in Germany back in the early 1930s. He died in 1945, and he had a really funny mustache. Well, Screwdriver followed that guy's ideology. I'm sorry, I didn't want to get banned. You know how YouTube is. But either way, they covered quite a few of their songs, and I must say, these guys have balls of steel for doing that. An all-black punk rock band, man oh man, Omar Higgins has balls of steel. Now, they have one EP out. I think it's called The Bootleg. They had a few other, songs that were in the works. I think they haven't been released yet. Unfortunately, and here's the bad news, the frontman of Negro Terror, Omar Higgins, unfortunately had passed away. So, man oh man, I would have loved to see these guys, perform live. But thankfully, the other members of the band are still involved in music. Still their Facebook page is still active. I think the other members of the band are, still performing. They have works of their own that they've recorded. I think they're performing with new bands now. And although Omar Higgins has died, he hasn't been forgotten, because apparently, this is kind of new to me, there was a movie made about the band. So, honestly, and to be quite honest with you guys, I haven't seen the movie as of yet, and being that I know that a movie does exist, I am definitely going to watch that. In fact, I might even watch it with you guys, do a review of it. But that's all for now. Those are 5 bands that I personally like that have, an all-black lineup. But, let's not end the line there. There's many bands out there that I've listened to that have black members, black bassmen, black lead guitarists, black frontmen. And, they all deserve a place in the spotlight. Because like I said, metalheads come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Black, white, yellow, polka dot. zebra stripe. I don't even care. But you know, like I said, this was a quick setup. I wanted to do something for Black History Month because, you know, I didn't do a Black History Month video last year. And like I said, it's been 7 or 8 months since I've uploaded a video at all. So just wanted to let you guys know I haven't forgotten about you. And want to thank you guys for sticking around. I plan on doing other videos like this, both band reviews, commentary, and, you know, other list videos, because, you know, there are lots of bands that deserve to be put into the spotlight. And if you guys haven't checked it out already, check out Pentagon Approved by KK Reaper. Like I said, singles live everywhere. I think it was on February 24th.
The wind's 120 knots to the west. Okay, thank you. It's rotating.
Alright, you guys, that's pretty much it. I know it's kind of late. I'm surprised, you know, when I recorded this, the sun was up. Now the sun is down and it's black. It's black outside. Black History Month, black heavy metal music video. Black outside. And to make things even more interesting, I'm literally drinking black coffee. I don't think this video can get any blacker than this. Alright, you guys, stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.